I'm sure we can all agree that all the police officers who are doing this should turn in their badges. Because if you cannot use your position to make the world a better place in law enforcement, including addressing the problems within law enforcement, then you have no business being employed in law enforcement. Now, there's several things I want to point out first. I shouldn't have to prove any of this to you. It should be completely my choice. I have no violent history, and I'm over 35 years old. Now, when I was younger, there was a psychiatrist, ironically, at Stanford University, who said that I was not suffering from mental illness, but rather a behavioral disorder. My parents are too emotionally attached to this, and everyone who knows me better than they do agrees that there's nothing wrong with me, and I have them on record saying so. I do not hang out with my family. My brothers live in different cities, and I maybe talk to them for 5 minutes once every other month. I've been on and off psych meds for over 20 years, for about 22 years, and even in my videos, you see examples of me on psych meds for 4 to 6 months sometimes, saying the same sorts of things that I do now. If your argument is that someone who is as educated and intelligent as I am, as articulate and perceptive as I am, should not have a say over whether or not they take psych meds or how their treatment should be, and that we should covertly drug these people, then you're not only saying that about one of the most intelligent people in your country, but you're saying that about over 1 in 4 women. According to the Huffington Post, over 1 in 4 women is on psych meds. 1 in 4 women is on antidepressants, or are at least describe them, whether they're taking them or not. So 1 in 4 women, you don't have any say over your treatment. And if these people want to covertly drug you, they can feel free. Because according to them, you have a mental illness that you don't want to admit to yourself. Even though psychiatry is kind of like Egyptology. There's the things that we all know, that we all agree on. Like people have brains. Like there's a genetic component to behavior. And then there's all speculation that makes people want to argue, yell, and even kill each other over the deeper implications of society going one way or another. Even Egyptologists would not want history to be told in a way that their rivals would agree with, and they wouldn't. So what does that say about people such as myself, who have just as much experience in mental health as many of the mental health professionals? And when you couple that with the fact that a psychiatrist in the past has agreed with me, the last psychiatrist to see me said perhaps there's nothing wrong with me at all, and if I quit smoking weed, whatever problems may or may not be there will go away. And I've quit for over 2 years now, mind you. And I have 2 psychologists and an Army medic with extensive experience on the field and otherwise with people with mental illness, all agreeing that there's nothing wrong with me and my behavior is consistent with covert drugging. What about the nearly 1 in 4 foster children? Hey, you people no longer have a say. What about the 1 in 13 U.S. school kids on psych meds? You no longer have a say. And again, my sources here are NY Times for the San Jose Mercury News, and NY Times, Medicating Women's Feelings, and WebMD, a source that psychiatrists use themselves for the 1 in 13 school kids. So now, when you consider all this, it is very dishonorable to covertly drug somebody or to try to provoke them to go to the psych ward involuntarily over speculation, especially when people who are considered experts that you otherwise would cite as a reason why they should go to the psych ward disagree with you and agree with him. When you have one of the greatest psychiatric minds in history, Dr. Thomas Szasz, a professor, a retired professor. He was a professor so long that he retired honorably. He taught the stuff, saying psychiatry is highly political. You have psychiatrists such as Dr. Colin Ross, In his book, the CIA doctor's making it clear that there's a long history of unethical treatments and non-consensual experimentation in this country, which, by the way, is mainstream history. Ford, the Church Committee, the Rockefeller Commission, all make that quite clear. So when you think about all these things, right? Medical Health Solutions doing the experiment with the study with the children, it becomes insane for one to think that what they're doing is okay, or that I should listen to them and not to what I've always known to be true and what does and doesn't work for me. This is not something I've tried for a couple days and said it doesn't work. There have been periods in my life where I was on psych meds for years at a time, and never, so help me God, never, for even a moment, have psych meds ever helped me. If you are not disturbed at this point, perhaps you need for me to clarify again. One in 4 women is dispensed medication for a mental health condition, and 15% of men. And do you want to set the stage for the government, the oppressive government that, made slavery legal, annihilated the Native Americans to a certain degree, and did the Jim Crow laws, the illegal war in Iraq, and a long list of human rights offenses, to give the government and private corporations, the people we all hate, corporate America, corporate crooks, the power to covertly drug anyone anytime they want on their discretion. Even when the people who know them best think that there's nothing wrong with them, they think there's nothing wrong with themselves, and other medical professionals, if you will, do not agree. Just think about that for a moment. Think about the deeper implications of my case. And all you people who are helping them out, you ought to be greatly ashamed of yourselves. Greatly. You see, it doesn't matter what a psychiatrist says. It matters what works for you. Is a heterosexual male to listen to a gay because he has 50 years experience fucking other men in the butt and say, you need to stop being straight and I'm going to force you to be gay? I'm the expert on homosexuality. That's not for me. That's against my religion. For the same reason, according to the Constitution and the current laws, we should be given the right to say these things. Whenever somebody seeks to covertly drug you, it is within your God-given right to kill that person. Think about this. If I'm going to give you drugs that, according to medical professionals, such as that guy from Sweden who was on RT, mainstream media, psych meds kill 500,000 people a year, and even if you don't, in Western countries alone, and even if you don't agree with that very obvious, straightforward statistic, we know that it causes a bunch of serious side effects. It harms the organs to the point where you get diabetes. It messes up your digestive system, messes up your brain to the point where you have blurred vision, sensitivity to sunlight, loss of coordination, tremors, even seizures, and worse. Sudden death on record is a side effect of many psychiatric medications. Are we to give a bunch of racist whites and sick, complex-having liberals in law enforcement and mental health a blank check and the go-ahead, the green light to covertly drug someone every time their political groups and their race cannot beat them at martial arts? Are we to listen to unscrupulous martial artists who are going to pretend that 13 witnesses don't mean anything when they are trying to pull excuses out of their cowardly yeller ass for why they didn't accept my challenge? Somebody has to be the top martial artist. And if that somebody doesn't challenge everyone in the most common, most effective and traditional way, remember, martial arts is just as much about tradition as it is about killing people, then they have no right to make that claim. Nor do they have any right to claim that the person who made that claim is not the best when they had every opportunity and financial incentive to beat them. What these people are demanding from you is not what I'm demanding from you. In fact, I'm not demanding anything. I'm asking for common sense here. Basic logic. Should martial arts challenges be done in a way that give cowards and inferior warriors the upper hand? I mean, it is beyond laughable. It is ridiculous to think that somebody can outmaneuver you on the battlefield with weapons in their hands, but they can't outmaneuver you with light gloves and lightweight martial arts gear? I mean, it's preposterous. It's outlandish. It's a frivolous claim. No, what they expect you to believe is so far beyond logic that you would have to be a coward, someone who needs to really do mental exercises, who, as far as comprehension, they can't see beyond their nose, so to speak. They're idiots. Don't be an idiot here. These people have teamed up to do something that I have expressed my objection to for over 20 years, that I've tried time and time again. The worst moments of my life, the least functionality was on psych meds. My most violent feelings and emotions were on psych meds. Emptiness, being dehumanized, feeling like a zombie, just Google it, has been described by many, many patients. And when you're suffering all these side effects, and you can't for the life of you think of one moment where you actually benefited from the psych meds, well, now, that is ridiculous. So all of you cowards supporting mental health, all you feminist cowards, all you gays working for mental health, all you liberals, all you pharmaceutical staff, all you Freemasons, all the cowards supporting mental health, I want you to go on record and say that you believe that 1 in 4 women should have no right to say whether or not they need treatment, even if they don't have a violent history. I want you to go on record and say that when those 1 in 13 school kids on psych meds grow up, they have no right to say whether or not they should take psych meds, even if they have no history of violence and they've tried psych meds for years at a time and it has never helped them. I want you to go on record, you fucking pussies, and say that 15% of men have no right to say, 1 in 6 men have no right to say whether or not they need medical treatment, psychiatric treatment, based on theories, even though they face sudden death on record and a laundry list of side effects. Go on record and say that. Spell it out to people what you are actually saying. Stop hiding the truth. Spell it out for America what you are actually suggesting. Don't just say, we want to give people help. No. Say what it means. A gay may as well tell every heterosexual man in America, we just want to help you see that living a homosexual life is more mentally healthy than being a heterosexual one. And there are people that believe that. Say what you are actually suggesting. That 1 in 4 women have no right to determine by themselves whether or not they should be taking psych meds. You feminists, go on record and say it. And say that part of the reason you're saying it is because you were hiding like the bitches you are from my top martial artist challenge, and you did not want it to come out that you were doing this to a sane, righteous man of God who has more heart than any of you. And don't for 1 second think that I'm going to take a deal. This is my life work. This is my religion. You think I'm going to throw away my life work and give up my religion when I take religion more seriously than anyone? For money or pussy? Or so that you cowards leave me alone? Would Jesus have done so? Would any great revolutionary change his political views and stop what he's doing so a bunch of bootlicking pussies will leave him alone? A bunch of cowards who don't have the heart to do what he is doing will leave him alone. I say nay.